Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special online event today. It's called How Dreamwork Can Ignite Your Soul's Wildness and Reveal Your Boldest, Truest Self. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and CEO of the Shift Network, and I am thrilled to be with you here, getting to explore frontiers of our dreamscape with a remarkable woman. Her name is Sullivan Walden. She's a dream analyst, hypnotherapist, and host of the Ask Dr. Dream podcast. And she's really been at the forefront of understanding how our dreams can be a portal to our highest self. We're going to learn a lot more today. There's more to come with a brand new program as well. So with that said, welcome, Kelly, to today's show.
Thank you so much, Stephen. It is such an honor to be with you on the Shift Network. The word shift is just so important, and it's so at the heart of what dreamwork can help us do to shift our point of view, shift our paradigm, shift into a higher place. It's truly dreamy to be with you.
Yeah, I think I'm completely aligned, and we have a really unique opportunity when we work with our dreams to access the guidance of our soul and access our fuller self and bring it into embodied form. So I know you've done a lot of very cool work to advance that. So before we dive into the teachings and the practices we want to explore today, I'd love for you to start with a little bit of your personal backstory. What propelled you on the path to become Dr. Dream?
Let's see, it feels like a wild and wandering story, but the basic essence of it is when I was very little. I have four sisters, and my sister closest to me in age, a year and a half younger, we shared a bedroom in all the different iterations of our home, wherever we lived. And she and I had what's called tandem dreaming on a regular basis, where we would be in each other's dreamscapes. We would talk to each other in our dreams. And often when we'd wake up in the morning, we'd start to tell each other a dream, and then the other one would finish the sentence because she'd either been in that dreamscape or I had been in hers. So that just created this special interest, because we didn't have a lot of video games or things like that growing up. So this became like our thing. And so that I didn't know that there was anything special about that. I thought that was just kind of what everybody does. And it wasn't until later when I got into high school, I realized, oh, this is a special phenomenon. And I started to notice that my dreams weren't just entertainment anymore, but they were information. And they would give me kind of a sense of a preview of coming attractions when it would come to big events, relationship issues, breakups, traumatic things that happened in school with other kids. I would get a sense of what was coming. So I personally valued them. And then for about a decade, when I was in my 20s, I was in Hollywood pursuing acting and doing a lot of that kind of stuff. And I kind of, silly me, I discounted my dreams during that time. I became very externally focused and not internally focused at all. So I unfortunately really lost myself. I became a world-class people pleaser, just wanted to be what everybody wanted me to be, and lost myself in the process. Ended up at a very dire moment of wanting to take my life at the ripe age of about 24. And I got into therapy, got into every self-help modality, 12-step programs, hypnosis, shamanism, whatever could help me. And I ended up having a great therapist who helped me. She suggested that I pay attention to my dreams to help me get my soul back. And I started remembering my dreams again, but they were very negative. They were very scary. And I really had an adversarial relationship with my dreams, but she said a nightmare is an unfinished dream. And she taught me how to finish a dream. And I could even cry right now, even though I've told this story so many times. It's so touching to me because that one statement really changed things for me. I learned how to, using my imagination, what she called it, to go back into my dreamscape from a waking state. I learned how to move within my dreams and move them to an exalted place, change the narrative until I felt empowered by them. And this was so dramatically impactful for me. It really made the difference from me being in victimhood and feeling very sorry for myself, very much at the effect of life, to suddenly feeling powerful, getting the beginning stages of coming into power. And so I became a hypnotherapist, and without meaning to, I suggested that my clients pay attention to their dreams. And I started sharing with them all the information that I had learned. And I eventually caught the attention of a publisher that said, I think you should write about this. You've got a really empowering perspective on dreams that isn't really out there in the mainstream. And so that marked the beginning of my first book deal. And that set me off to the races. It kind of turned my life from my dreams being this happening that happened at night and something I talked about in a therapeutic setting with clients. It became something that I started to do all throughout the day. And that one book led to the next book and the next. And there's been about 10 books so far and 4 Oracle decks. And to me, it all comes back to that very same thing, that it's this empowerment practice to get us back in touch with our soul. And our soul is that part of us. When we're connected to it, we are empowered. We can be, as the Marcy Shimoff book title says, we can be happy for no reason, even when all hell is breaking loose. We actually have agency over our lives, and it all comes back to dreams. So that sort of brings me to you, Stephen.
Well, it's an amazing history that you've had, and I think you've gone through a lot of different phases. Obviously, from the kind of advanced early beginning to being fully cut off. And I want to start there because I think a lot of us, there's a lot of pull for our attention in the outer world, a lot of demand we have little girls at home, there's business things, there's always more attention being pulled outward. And what you experience, I think there's a kind of a soul loss if we don't keep that dialogue with our soul up on a daily basis. And so maybe start to share, first of all, like, how do we sort of really engage that dialogue, that connectedness to our soul through our dreams fully first, and then this more advanced work you're talking about of like really becoming empowered in your dreams. Let's go there.
Yeah, I think that it starts with us doing something very simple. I always tell people, you don't have to change your whole life. You don't have to burn the whole house down. It's very simple. You start with the early morning moments, the first thing you do when you wake up, because if you don't do it first thing, it won't happen. You have to go out of your way to record a dream. And you can record it in some very simple ways. You can journal your dream. You can record it on a voice memo. You just do something to acknowledge the dream you were just having, even if it's just a wisp, a snippet, even if it makes no sense. The very act of recording a dream in your waking reality is the same as it's creating a bridge from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. And there was a Harvard study that was done about a decade ago that basically said that if we simply do that, and this doesn't mean you have to understand what your dream is telling you, you don't have to do any deeper work than that, but just simply by remembering a dream first thing in the morning, you have better navigational acuity in your life. You have a better ability to connect with your intuition, your inner guidance, your ability to be able to be connected to this larger aspect of yourself, which makes problem solving, at the very least, something that you're a bit better at. So at the very least, I suggest start there. And then we can pick up from that. Where we go from there is, now let's look at that little piece of a dream that you remembered. And now let's do something with that. And that's where in the larger course, we'll talk about the ways this is the course that we'll be talking about later, about the ways to be able to not just interpret a dream from a typical dream dictionary perspective, but how to look at your dream through the lens of, how is this helping me to awaken? And awaken to what? Awaken to what I like to say, your wildness, either your inner wild woman or your wild man. This is not dream work to just remain more cerebral. This is not just dream work to be in kind of a tight shell. This is about dream work to be able to help you expand and to help you grow in exponential ways. And by doing this simple practice, and really it doesn't take very long. So like I said at the very beginning, if you just pay attention to a little dream first thing in the morning, it's as if you've connected the dots between your soul, your higher self, and your ordinary waking self. And you just simply are connected in that way before you go into your meditation practice or into your yoga or into the rest of your day. It gives you that extra wisdom. It's like you're connected with the stuff that's back here in your blind spot, but it's not so blind. It's like we move it up to here and we can sort of see it. And then that gives us a tremendous advantage in our lives.
Mm. Well, I love the way you describe inner wildness. It's like sometimes we use very lofty, sort of ascent-oriented language. We're just going to sort of this higher vibrate. But wildness implies a more full-bodied, full-spectrum kind of openness and freedom. And so I'd love you to share a little bit more about your experience of why, or what it is about connecting to the wildness that really opens that portal to our soul, allows us to embody more of who we truly are.
I love it. Well, even just saying the word wildness, doesn't that evoke something? I know for me, just saying the word can move me from feeling kind of ordinary to all of a sudden, rare. So I'm going to share a little dream that I had myself. I've had a series of wolf dreams where I'm being chased by wolves, or where my pets are being chased by wolves, or where I'm trying to protect my family from wolves. And I've had this series and I've done a lot of work on these dreams, and yet they persisted. So to me, whenever there's a recurring theme, that tells me that there is something deeper here, drill here. It's like the cosmic highlighter pen saying there's more juice here. So the last big wolf dream I had was tremendous. It was a graduation ceremony where I was surrounded by other graduates that we were supposed to get our degree in something. And the director of the school was diabolical. I equated him to President Snow from the Hunger Games. I don't know if you ever saw that, but he said, to honor your achievement, we're going to bring out the wolves. So all of a sudden, thousands of wolves come running at us. And I think to myself, I'm supposed to practice what I've learned, which is to move toward the scary thing, not away from it. So I make myself move toward the wolves, but I instinctively know, no, this is not going to work. I'm not prepared for this. And I look down and I realize I have my 2 dogs with me, and they're little and vulnerable. So I just start running. And I get to my car and I finally get the dogs in the car and I outrun the wolves. And that's where the dream ends. And it left me feeling, I was hyperventilating. I was feeling insecure. I was feeling very stressed out throughout the day. And I thought, I really need to honor this dream by taking a deeper level. So I practiced what I preach, which is go back into the dream in your waking state and imagine that you can finish the dream. A nightmare is an unfinished dream. So finish the dream either through journaling or poetry or dance or whatever it is. So I wrote a story basically where I went back into the dream and I allowed myself, this is what I was guided to do. This might seem very strange, but it's as if I fast forwarded the movie. And I went into this kind of quantum leap place where I allowed the wolves to do what they wanted, to completely pounce on me, to eat me alive, to completely destroy me. And they were piled up on me. And in the process of that, it was like I wasn't truly being destroyed, but I was receiving their wisdom in this incredibly, almost sort of violent way, but I was receiving it. And I emerged from this pile, not a puppy pile, but a wolf pile. And I came out of it as one of them. And the next scene is me standing up on the graduation stage. And instead of the president of the school giving the speech, it was me who was giving the speech. And I looked out to either side, to my left and to my right, and I was flanked by thousands of wolves. And it was like I had become not the mother of dragons, but the mother of wolves. And they had my back and they had my sides and they had my front. And I felt like I was with them. I was one with them. And the feeling that I have in just talking about this dream is I feel this incredible resurgence, this incredible empowerment, and this feeling of not being foolishly fearless, but I feel like, bring it on. What does life have to offer me? I know that we can alchemize anything. And if I have these wolves that have now gone from being my nemesis to being my allies, like, who shall I fear? So I knock on wood here, but I also feel like there's a principle here that we can all value from. Whatever it is that scares us in our dreams often is a part of our own power that we've said, no, 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 I want to be a nice girl or a nice boy. I want to fit in to this world. I don't want to be a weirdo. I don't want to be too much. So we put it all, we put all that energy into the closet. We try to hide it. And it's okay to do that, because in some way that's what it took to have us survive and get to this point. But at this point, I would assert for anybody who's watching and or listening to this, you're at the place in your evolution where you're already surviving quite well. So this is about shifting into thriving and looking at every dream from the perspective of, how is this helping me to access my wildness? And by wildness, it's like that creative energy, that sexual energy, that life force energy that wants to connect, that wants to make the most of these precious moments that we have here, and then some. So hope that answers your
What a great
question,
story.
and you're not too scared.
What a great dreamscape to illuminate that, and to, it kind of strikes me that it's like the wildness in our dreams is often presenting first, if we're resistant to it, as some form of nightmare or problematic scenario, but really it's wanting to transform us and liberate all that suppressed energy. So I think that's really great. If that's a key pivot. So let's transition into doing the practice that you wanted to, the meditative practice where people access their wildness.
Okay. All right. So this is not for the faint of heart. I'll just warn you. So if you don't want to be ruffled, then you could stop watching now. But if you don't mind being a little ruffled, then let's proceed. So let's turn within for a moment. And let's just take a few deep breaths. And let's just start off by allowing every exhale to be a gentle releasing and a letting go of all that you think you know, all the wisdom and all the knowledge and all the life experience that has brought you to this moment. Acknowledge it all. Be grateful for it all, but be willing to let it go, just for now. Just allow yourself to breathe nice and deep here. Be willing to let yourself let go, to not know. So I'm just going to ask you to imagine you're standing at the edge of the world. Imagine that you are this cosmic being that is standing at that horizon place, that place that represents everything that you've known, everything that is knowable, all of it, but it's behind you. And as you stand here on this horizon place, I'm going to invite you to imagine that you extend your arms and expand them open wide, that you breathe in and you open your heart wide, and that you do the same with your mind. You open your mind. You allow all judgments and all previous conditioning to just simply be behind you. You're not getting rid of it. You're not throwing it away. Just simply releasing it to be behind you, so that as your arms are open, your heart is open, your mind is open, you are right now open to connect with your awakened self, your wild self. And as I mentioned earlier, we often relate to the part of ourselves that we haven't met yet as perhaps this tiny little sliver of reality. But in fact, it's 99.999% of what's out there. We can quicken the gap between where we are and where we would like to be, in that place of complete empowerment, complete wildness, complete magnificent self-expression, by releasing our adversarial relationship with what we don't know and saying yes to it. So I want you to imagine, even though you'll do this silently, that you yell out to the universe, yes, the loudest yes you can imagine. You're yelling out yes to your awakened self. You're saying, yes, I am here for you. Yes, I am ready for you. Yes, I have space for you. Yes, I respect you. Yes, I am available. So imagine at the top of your lungs, of course, in the silence, in waking reality, but in your mind's eye, you're screaming out, yelling out, yes. And imagine that darkness that represented what you don't know, it suddenly changes color as you breathe it in. You're breathing in your connection to your wildness, to your awakened self, and feel yourself accessing it now. Perhaps it had access to you in tiny little drips and drabs, but now you are wide open like a sponge. And this wisdom is now multicolored. In fact, you can color it in your favorite color. What is that? The color that represents your most vibrant, electric, alive self. So simply imagine and feel that you have just, simply by allowing this color to wash through your mental awareness, you've shifted your relationship to what might have seemed dark or scary or too much. And it now is beginning to resonate with you at a more profound level than before. So notice what you feel. Perhaps a buzzing begins to happen, perhaps around your head, around your heart. Take a deep breath here and allow this wisdom to continue through your body, through your mind. Now imagine that you're soaking in it. You've thrown yourself into it, almost like a star-crossed lover, like those scenes in movies where you're running across a field and someone is running toward you, and you know there's great love, great passion, great excitement. You open your heart and you say yes to this without reservation, because you know that you're opening yourself to it for the greatest good of you and all concerned. So just notice a particular aspect of this awakening, this wisdom that comes into focus. Perhaps it's an energy vibration that helps you feel more physically alive and excited, healthier, maybe energized as if you just had a cup of coffee. Perhaps this is triggering some creativity. So when you're finished listening to this, you'll have more to draw from to plug into whatever creative project you were working on. Or perhaps in this moment in the silence, you will discover a solution to a challenge that you had just been grappling with before. So just take a few moments in the silence to let this awakened, wild energy to wash through you and to see what specific aspect of it becomes clarified for you now. And just notice if there's any resistance. That's okay and that's normal. I always like to say, to address the resistance, often we resist our power, our wisdom, our greatness, all that is in shadow, because we're afraid that we might not know what to do with that power, that we might misuse it, or that it might set us apart from people, or there might be some negative side effect from receiving more of this juice that is yours, this energy that is yours. But right now, dedicate your up-leveling of this energy, this receiving of this energy, to being a greater giver in this world, to being a more enlightened version of yourself that can more greatly support the people in your life, the communities you serve, your family. This will only support, it will only up-level the great work that you are already doing. So with that, take another big breath, receiving this energy, noticing the color of it. Notice if it's changed. Notice if it's brightened. And notice that it's as if you're in a tunnel of love, of pure love, pure awakened, wild energy. And it's whooshing through you and you're receiving it. It's whooshing through your mind, your heart, your body, your cells, your atoms, your bones, strengthening you, uplifting you, giving you exactly what you are scheduled to receive right now. And let's just imagine for a moment that we've been doing this meditation together for years. That we've been doing this together for a very, very long time, so much so that this has become ordinary. This is no longer a big deal. You are now quite comfortable with all that we called shadow, all that we called wildness. You are acclimated to it. It's become your ordinary set point. This aspect of you, this version of you, this awakened version of you is you, who you've always been. And now going forward, when you get ready to open your eyes in just a few moments, you'll do so with this new set point. And I invite you to revisit this meditation if you would like in the moments before bedtime, so that you can take this into your dreaming, so your dreams can help you to expand upon this. and that your dreams upon awakening will be vivid and bright and easily catchable, easily rememberable, and easily understandable, so that they'll also be easily actionable in your waking life. All of this for the highest good of all, most especially you. One more deep breath. And so it is. Amen. A woman. A dream.
Thank you for that. And I think what I'm really taking away is just that invitation to the full spectrum of ourselves, the full, like, not just trying to be lofty or more exalted. It's just like that. The wildness brings like all of us in a really beautiful way. So thank you for that. So what are the different types of dreams in which this wildness shows up, so we can kind of reorient our relationship with them?
Thank you. Great question. On some level, we could say that the easy way of looking at this is anything that we would call shadow. Anything that in the shadow is an interesting conversation. The shadow, like I said earlier, is anything that we once upon a time deemed as undesirable, unlovable, unlikable. Not going to win us any brownie points. Not going to win us popularity contests. So we've shoved all that stuff into the closet. On some level, I think most of us think of our shadow as the yucky stuff, maybe where the part of ourselves that is angry or irritable or overly emotional, sad, fear-based. It's the stuff that we judge in other people, in other words. Anything that ruffles our feathers or that causes us to go, ooh, I don't like that, or where we get judgy. Consider that that's a part of ourselves that is the shadow, that is basically our wildness that's been shoved away. But it's also the part of us that we put above us. The shadow, and it's also connected to our wildness, is the energy that we say, oh, that's too good for me. I could never be that wealthy or that beautiful or that successful or that in love or that creatively expressed. Sometimes we'll have dreams about people that we admire, or even spiritual avatars that we put on a big pedestal. And I always like to say, everyone and everything in your dream is an aspect of you. Whether you put them on a pedestal or you put them beneath your feet, they're all aspects of you. The interesting thing as well, and I liked that you said there's this pivot here. I think it's an important piece to recognize that we mostly relate to the shadow as if it was this tiny little sliver of our life pie, like say the pie that represents all the things that we know, all the things that are knowable. And then there's the shadow, which is this teeny little, this little quadrant or this little piece. That's the stuff that we don't know, the unknowable, and all the stuff that we shove in the closet. That's our shadow. But we could say, in reality, our shadow is a flipped ratio. It's 99.9% of reality. In the Toltec world, in the Toltec work, they talk about the know-all and the tonal. The tonal being the sum total of what we know, the know-all being all that we don't know. And the know-all, it's why they call the shamans know-alls, is like it's about having mastery in the mystery. So my strong passion that hopefully you're feeling in this event, but also that I'll be doing my very best to transmit in the larger class, is to shift the way we relate to our shadow. In other words, our wildness. And instead of having what we typically have as an adversarial relationship with what's unknown or with what we've shoved in the closet, to have instead a healthy and harmonious relationship with that energy. So my big desire is that we relate to this wildness. We relate to our shadow, that we switch this relationship between what we know and what we don't know to it being this wonderful thing. This thing that loves us, that wants everything for us, that can't wait to empower us and to give us additional gifts that belong to us anyway. So that's more of my relationship to the shadow and to the wildness. And nothing brings that to us more elegantly than our dreams. Our dreams really tell us what we're missing and what it's time, what we're coded for reunification with.
Well, I just love what you just shared, and it kind of reminded me of Rumi's poem, "The Guest House," where you're sort of welcoming all these things at the door, laughing, welcome them in, and it's like it's a great attitude towards what's our quote shadow, as like these are messengers from our wider self, and just to embrace them and bring them in. So, how to really make that real in terms of noticing where we might have resistance to some aspects of this wilder, bigger part of ourselves, and then what to do with that.
Oh, that's great. And by the way, The Guest House is one of my most favorite poems ever. I would tattoo it to my body, but it's too long of a poem. It would take up too much skin. But one way to work with it is, so in a dream or in waking reality, but let's just say in a dream, if we have a character, I'll be specific for a moment. There's a dream that I had once upon a time about a cyclops albino lumberjack that was chasing me through a forest. And it was terrifying. It was on the level of like Freddy Krueger, or it was terrifying. And he caught up to me, and I knew he had a hatchet, and he was about to get me. And I looked out to him, and I knew, based on the work that I had done with the Sonoy, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Sonoy, but they're dreamers, a dreaming tribe out of Malaysia that was brought to the forefront by an anthropologist named Kilton Stewart back in the 30s, I believe. And his basic takeaway from this incredible dream tribe is that we're to move toward the adversarial characters in our dreams with open hands and open heart, asking, what is your gift for me? What are you trying to teach me? How are you trying to make my life better? That's one of the techniques. So I was shaking under this table saying, how are you trying to help me? Oh, and I think I really just said after that, like, and why are you trying to kill me? And he started to laugh, and he said, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to support you. And I looked out from under the table, and I realized this being was big and strong and masculine and very muscular, albino, which to me was symbolic of he was in the closet. He hadn't seen much sunlight. Cyclops. He had this third eye that was massive. And so it was like, oh, you're here to help me. You're here to help me be stronger, here to help me be more discerning, here to help me have boundaries. So I woke up from that dream. And again, just similar to the wolf dream, I was able to transform a nightmare, an enemy, so to speak, into an ally who I think on now with it gives me a lot of strength, and it gives me like an injection of power. So what we can do is, when we have a dream that is disquieting or that's upsetting, we can ask ourselves, what's first of all, just let it rip as we're writing. What is so undesirable about this character, about this characteristic? What do we not like about it? That it's bossy, it's scary, it doesn't know its own strength, whatever that is. And then we can ask the question, and what's good about those things? What's good about an albino lumberjack cyclops is that he's strong. So we have to kind of look as if we were an attorney, as if we were hired and paid millions of dollars to be the defense attorney for that shadowy, wild character that showed up in our dreams. And it's our job to find something good and redeemable about that character and ask ourselves, how might that thing, that quality, be useful in my life now? And for me, regarding that albino cyclops lumberjack, I needed greater discernment in my life. I could use more strength. I was in a very interesting pivotal time in my life. So all of this was him being an ally. So we just have to, so in a nutshell, we ask the question, what are the things that are so offensive to me that I don't like, but what's good about them? But we have to become sort of an attorney that's looking for what's good about those things, as if we were going to be paid millions of dollars to do so. And then ask ourselves, how might that quality be helpful in my current waking life circumstances?
That's a great reframe, and maybe even essential to our moment, not just helpful, but just exactly what we need and we don't know we need. There was one other area that we said we would talk a little bit about. I want to make sure we get a little bit in on that, and that's about dream decoding, and a tool for like when you have dreams, like how do you, beyond just interpreting them in a more passive way, just sort of like working with them as to sort of like, what is that soul message and what do we do with it?
Yeah. So I created this very quick formula for being able to decode dreams. And it's called Jet Set. And it's an acronym. I'm the queen of acronyms. And the notion of jet set, I think we all, in our most wildest expression, we want to be on the move. We want to be on the go, even though we've been in a pandemic for a long time. A lot of us, like myself, we've not been as globetrotting as normal. But I think we like to relate to ourselves as beings that can have agency to go where we want, when we want, to be able to fly. Often one of the best dreams people have is dreams of flying. So this kind of involves that vision. So jet set, it's easy to remember. And once you have a dream, you write it down exactly as you remember it, as best as you can. And then in your journal, write these letters down and answer the questions that correspond with them. So J stands for just the facts, ma'am. So you would have done that with your first dream description. And so this is just keeping it simple. Sometimes dreams can be so elaborate that there's no end. So this is about just keeping it very simple as much as possible. The E is for the emotion or the energy of the dream. And sometimes dreams have multiple energies. It can start off happy, sad, scary, empowered. So acknowledge those different beats, the different energies in the dream. T stands for what's the title, if this were a movie, title and or subtitle. And there's a lot that comes to us if we answer that question without thinking about it. Often half the work is done when we just simply answer that question. And it doesn't have to be fancy, just the first thing that comes to your mind. And then S is for the standout symbols and what they mean to you. So you don't have to decode every single element of the dream because that can be daunting. Sometimes I say you can just pick one symbol that stands out the most, at least one, but if you have several of them, that's fine. This is meant to be quick, like we're on the move, we're jet set, we're going places. We're not going to spend our entire day sitting here decoding these dreams. We don't have time for that. We're busy people. So the S is standout symbols and what they mean to you. And then the next E is for enlighten. Consider that every dream comes to us in the service of our health, healing, and wholeness. In other words, our enlightenment, our greatest awakening, and I would say even our greatest wildness. So from that perspective, how do you see your dream is helping you to become wilder, to become more awake? And enlightened is, I use that word because I think it kind of covers all of that territory. So how is your dream helping you? Even if the dream seems scary, even if it seems wonky, even if it seems mundane, every dream, I will assert, is helping you to become a better version of yourself. And then the last T is for take it to the streets. This is the action aspect of the dream. This is where you're encouraged to consider how you're going to do some form of action in your waking life to honor the dream and or the dream maker by picking up the phone, calling somebody, maybe dressing in a way that you were in your dream, or playing a song if you woke up with a song on your mind. Or it might be to do something more dramatic. It might be to write a story, write that screenplay, forgive somebody that you forgave in your dream. So it's really up to you to be creative with how you action where how you put action to your dream. And this in many ways kind of closes the feedback loop. So jet set, just the facts, ma'am. What's the energy or the emotion? What's the title and or subtitle? What are the standout symbols? How is it trying to enlighten you? And how will you take it to the streets?
Super helpful acronym. And I really like that it's not about referencing some abstract book or whatever. It's really about making it particular, the language of your soul speaking through you, and titling is in a way sort of getting at the essential core message that is at the core of that dream. So really beautiful stuff. So Kelly, it's really a delight to be with you, and there's something about your voice that I find really hypnotic as well. So I just keep leaning in, and I want to hear more. So I know a lot of people are feeling the same way. So let's talk a little bit more explicitly about your upcoming program, because I know this is going to be a deep, rich, enlivening dive into our wildness and our soul's essence through our dreamscape. So the program is called The Way of the Awakened Dreamer, 7 dreamwork practices to reinvigorate your life and realign with your soul's wildness. You can find it laid out in detail at dreamyourinnerwildness.com, dreamyourinnerwildness.com. It's going to be a 7-week program. There are no prerequisites. It's really if you feel pulled, moved, intrigued by what you're hearing here today, then you want to go further and deeper. You want to access more of the wildness that really is a portal to your highest self through this kind of dream work. And if you feel called, you're more than welcome to join. So, Kelly, I'd love for you in your own words to share about why take this journey. How does somebody's life shift when they open this portal to the wildness through their dreams?
Well, I think I want to say something maybe a little controversial here. I don't think people have to take a course like this, because I think people are okay as they are. And just like we don't have to pay attention to dreams in order to benefit from them, we are benefiting from our dreams all the time. We're talking about taking things to the next level. If you're somebody who's ambitious to grow and to expand beyond the status quo and to go beyond your edges, then this course is for you. Paying attention to dreams is for you. This is also, if you're interested in dreams and in the ways that dreams can help you, whether you're naturally gifted at remembering dreams or whether it's hard for you, this course will help you to become more fluent in the language of dreams, have greater dream mastery so you understand the way your dreams are speaking to you, but also so that you navigate your life, your waking life, as if it were a dream. In the same way, like many of the principles that I use for working with dreams, I'll teach you how to use in your waking reality to be able to have more grace, have more elegance in life. So when difficult things happen, and they happen to all of us, how to be able to quickly alchemize what happens and look at it from a dreaming perspective. And what do I mean by a dreaming perspective? I simply mean we all have this. It's the part of us that thinks way outside the box. It's the part of us that is incredibly creative and problem solving and accesses that 99.9% of our mind's power that's kind of happening in behind us. It's kind of like, let's access that and not just fumble through life using that 0.001% of our mind's power that is our logic and reasoning, which is fine. But my God, if we add all the wisdom of our dreams and the wildness that comes from that and connect it to our ordinary life, then we've got a recipe for a lot of joy. I also want to say this is not a dream workshop that's going to put you to sleep. This is about becoming enlivened by your dreams. This is not meant to be just a cerebral exercise, which is fine. I love all of that. But this is meant to be something that engages your body, that you embody, that you move, that changes the way you move, that will change the way you relate even to your body and your body of affairs in your life. So this isn't meant to be something that is kind of in a stiff library kind of a thing. This is meant to be something that has your life become more technicolor. this workshop is meant to enliven you, turn things into technicolor, have them be wild, and we'll learn how to have some boundaries around that wildness so you don't get arrested and you don't hurt anybody in the process of that, but so that the volume of your technicolor gets turned up and allowing the bridge between your conscious mind and unconscious, subconscious, dreaming mind to be strongly connected.
Great. What a beautiful offering. So I'll read out the module titles and give a little sneak preview of each. So module 1, what's your why? Setting the intention for invigorated wildness.
So in this course, setting the intention, I think, is really, really important. We'll do some meditative practices to get deep into why you want to access your wildness and this awakened aspect of you. In particular, what is it that you want? What if I was a genie and I could provide you like exactly like your wish is my command, what would it be? What do you really want it towards? It's one thing to say, yes, I want to become more awakened. I want to have greater access to my dreams. But I want you to get specific into the why. Like, what is it that you want as something that would be a show of the success? If this workshop is successful, what would you get out of that? So that's part of what we're going to do in that. And also we're going to play with the acronym wildness. So there will be some work, and the W is what we'll focus on in the first one, and that's about wholeness, and that even relates to holiness. So there's some fun and there's some juice around that. I'm going to invite people to create a dream project that'll be something that will be an actionable outcome of what you get from this class. And so that's something that you'll also set the intention for at the beginning.
Great stuff. Module 2, the invocation, calling in the wild.
Yeah. So this is where you will begin to identify what inspires you. So the I in wildness is inspiration. So like I did a little bit of in the meditation, in the dreamwork practice that I shared with you earlier, is to stand on the edge and open up to what is in that wild field that is yours. But then we come into something more specific. What about the wildness is what inspires you? So this is where you'll have a chance to acknowledge other creatures, other beings, maybe animals, maybe people that you know that are living this way. We're going to call them in and create a kind of collage of sorts so that you see, oh, these people are doing this wildness. These people inspire me, and they're not arrested and they're not hurting anybody, and it's working out for them. So this is kind of a confidence builder for yourself inside that space to think about what does wildness look like for you? It's not a one size fits all kind of proposition. What does it look like for you more specifically? And there's something in the invocation about doing a dream incubation. I also call it setting a dream declaration. It's being able to get very specific about how you want this practice to support you in your life now and here and now. And there's a practice that we'll do that helps you do a very particular practice right as you're about to go to sleep, because that is a very special time. That's kind of prime real estate. The things that we do in those moments before bedtime really help us to engage in our dreams in the most powerful way. So that'll be something that we do in that workshop.
Module 3 is dream crafting and radical dream breakthroughs.
So this is what we're going to discuss, the L, which is loving the unlovable. So this is very much where a lot of shadow work will come in. Dream crafting, I've been told, is one of the most powerful processes that I teach. It's a way to be able to treat life like it's a dream, and something that I can't wait to share with people. It's a way to be able to really break through difficult, whatever that chronic difficult thing is in your life. This is a way to be able to crack that and treat it like it's a dream. So I'm excited. I really almost can't wait till we get to that one, because that's where the massive transformation happens.
Module 4, interpreting dream symbols, signs, and synchronicities.
Yeah, so similar to what we just talked about with Jet Set, we'll practice doing some dream decoding. This is where I will also give some additional insight about the ways that I look at dreams and some of the dream practices that over the last 20 years since I've been doing this professionally and thousands of dreams and dreamers I've worked with, there's a handful of practices that I use today that help me to be able to interpret the messages I get through dreams and through life, and how to navigate our way inside the waking dream as well, and how to interpret those signs and synchronicity. So I've got some practices for how to do that in a very, very systematic and practical way.
Module 5, taking responsibility for your power.
Yeah, so this is something that I alluded to today. This is one of the biggest obstacles to really, really owning our power. Carolyn Mace said once upon a time that the reason that we're alive is to learn how to manage our power. But the problem is most of us don't realize how powerful we are. We don't even realize that we have any. So in this module, there's going to be more of the unraveling and the awakening and bringing in that power, and teaching boundaries and how to work with when and if we do misstep, how we can correct that so that we can allow that aspect of us, like that genie, to come out of the bottle and into our lives.
Beautiful. The next module is on dream bridging. Your charge is to enlarge.
Yeah, this is a fun one. So in some way, I believe it's like if we're relating to ourselves as these teeny tiny little beings, mostly if we ever have felt victimized, it's because we're feeling tiny compared to our circumstances. But this is about flipping that ratio. It's about realizing how extraordinary we are and being able to manage that, hold that. And, I left off the wildness acronym. So in this one, this is the edge. This is where we explore the edge of what we know and we go beyond it. And it's our relationship to the edge as well. So I always like to say our charge is to enlarge, to become the bigger, better version of ourselves and stabilize that.
And finally, module 7, taking it to the streets. As we are lifted, all are lifted.
Right. So in the wildness acronym, the SS stands for soul speak. At this point, you become fluent, not just in the language of your dreams, but in the language of your soul, so that there's not much difference between our waking dreams and our sleeping dreams. This is where we learn how to navigate this and how to be practical in our waking lives. And this is also where there's a bit of a show and tell about what we've been working on, what our dream project is, and how we've manifested that, so that we see results with our eyes. We not just feel it in our hearts. I want us to feel it in our hearts, but I also feel like I'm a very practical mystic. I want people to have results that they can see and in their very personal, practical lives. So, and also we dedicate this to, it's not just for us to grow and glow and to become bigger and better, but as we do it in an offering to be better servants, to be better givers, so that as we are lifted, all are lifted. It's never just about us. It's about the radical ways that our wildness dramatically and positively affects the collective.
Love it. Well, what a fantastic program you've created. Again, folks, you can find all the details at dreamyourinnerwildness.com, dreamyourinnerwildness.com. A few of the things about this program. So not only do you get the 7 90-minute live sessions with Kelly, which includes interactive time and Q&A time, you also get recordings of every session, video and audio through your transformational library. You can revisit particularly important sections. You get word-for-word transcripts. There's small group time to connect with other participants, and a Facebook learning community to support you and deepen your experiences. Plus, there's a number of great bonuses. Kelly's been super generous here. There's a 11-part masterclass series from Kelly and Rasuli called The Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. There's 3 one-on-one video dialogues with Kelly and Cindy Dale, Robert Moss, and Heather Ashamara, 3 other wonderful Shift faculty members. It's called Intimate Conversations series with Shift faculty. And there's 3 PDF chapters from Kelly's book, It's All in Your Dreams, excerpts there. And really a truly amazing extra bonus, which you only get until midnight tonight, is a whole 4-part video course valued at $350 just by itself called Dreamifesting. Kelly, you want to share a little bit about Dreamifesting, which is the special bonus they get when they sign up right away today?
Yes, I'd love to. So this course is very much focused on a result. Most people are pretty practical, and they're not going to take time to develop themselves just so that they feel slightly better internally. But it's nice when there's the feedback of being able to actually show that you can manifest something by having this internal shift. This internal shift does affect the waking dream. And so the Dreamifesting course is focused on a very particular outcome and allowing the power of your dreaming mind to do the heavy lifting. I like to say that I'm not lazy per se, but if there's the hard way and the soft way and I had a choice, I would choose the soft way. And the soft way in many ways is the dreaming way, is to allow the power of our dreams to work it out for us and to shift things around for us so that when we wake up in the morning, we don't have to do a whole lot. It doesn't mean that we don't do something, but the work that we do is quality doing, and a lot of the rest of the work happens in our sleep. So that the course on Dreamifesting helps you to be able to do that. It's one of my favorite courses I've ever created, and I'm so happy to offer that as a bonus gift for this program.
Wow. Sounds like you're just aligning with the creative mojo of the universe and letting it roll through you. So great stuff. So again, all the details on that and all the rest of this at dreamyourinnerwildness.com. It's going to be an amazing program. I think you can tell Kelly's passion, her depth of expertise, and really cool, interesting practices you're not going to get elsewhere. So we've kept the investment really accessible for this full program, bonuses, and today's extra bonus around Dreamifesting. It's just 3 payments of $109, or you save 10% when you pay in full up front with $297. So the course starts on January 6th, a great way to kick off the new year, really activate all of those intentions from the new year in a new cycle of manifestation and creativity and soul connection and wildness. It's going to run on Thursdays at 1 Pacific time, 4 Eastern. And even if you can't make those live times, you can still get the full value just participating with the downloads and adding to your library, listening in the car, wherever, however you can make time to participate, you can still get the full value. So I encourage you to read through the testimonials you can find on the page at dreamyourinnerwildness.com. There's some of the luminaries in the field, big endorsements from Lynn Andrews, Fred Allen Wolf, a lot of people just whose lives have been transformed. So I encourage you to read through those testimonials and feel how your life might transform as a result of taking in these insights, these shifts, and the practices that really can build over time. So that's what's on offer. So you have a chance to go much deeper with Kelly, and I hope you've enjoyed today as much as I have and want to go further. So Kelly, we're at the end of our hour together. Just a final, anything on your heart that you still want to share with folks who are considering going further into their inner wildness with you?
Yeah, well, Stephen, first, I just want to thank you so much for the amazing work that you've done to create and co-create the Shift Network. And I'm truly honored to be with you and to be with the incredible people behind the scenes. This has been such a wonderful experience so far, getting to create this with you. I think what's on my heart at this moment is I'm really aware of the option that stands in front of us. Like, we're all basically at a crossroads. I think the notion of, like, there's the awakened dreamer, and then what's the opposite of that? The sleepy person that's just kind of sleepwalking through life. And it's so painful for me when I see people needlessly suffering or struggling in their lives. And I really want people to do it because I feel like it's just something that will be it will help them to step into their power so that they can be the awakened version of themselves that they came here to be. And I know there's a ripple effect that happens as one is lifted, all are lifted. And I really feel like it's a sign of the times that we would become a people that we're aware of our dreams, and we allow that wisdom to inform our decisions and our choices and our behavior and our relationships. So I am really grateful for this opportunity to talk to you, Stephen, and to this wonderful Shift community, and to wish you all well. And I think my little saying is, don't take your dreams lying down. At the very least, stop doing that and start to awaken to the power of your dreams and your dreaming mind.
Well, your passion is very contagious, and it's been a delight to be with you this hour. So thank you, Kelly, for all your life work that's fed into being so brilliant and inspiring for us all. So thank you all for joining. You're warmly welcome to go further with Kelly into the way of the awakened dreamer, 7 dream work practices to reinvigorate your life and realign with your soul's wildness. You can do so at dreamyourinnerwildness.com. And if you sign up today, you get the extra bonus of that 4-part, $350 dream-manifesting program that really can bring a lot of magic into your life. So thank you all, and look forward to seeing many of you in the program. Bye now.
Thank you.